It's worth taking a moment on a Sunday morning to admire something quite rare in politics, a slogan so self-sabotaging it could be engraved with irony. Reform will fix it. That's the rallying cry of Nigel Farage's Reform UK party, presumably coined before their vetting process unravelled like a cheap knockoff parachute. The phrase is, of course, a grotesque echo of Jimmy Savile's Jim will fix it, which, as timing would have it, has been disturbingly revived by one of Reform's very own candidates. You couldn't script this, but they did, on social media, repeatedly. The case of Stephen Hartley, who stood for election in Banbury and Hardwick in Oxfordshire, a man who described Jimmy Savile, of all people, as a working-class hero and a role model. He even threw in a bonus comparison to Vladimir Putin for good measure. It sounds as if he's winding people up, but it isn't satire. He posted it openly, proudly, repeatedly, and then claimed he may have forgotten to tell the party about his Twitter account. That's like applying for a job at the BBC and forgetting to mention that you moonlight as a flat earth influencer. Naturally, Reform UK withdrew support within an hour, but alas, it was after the headline, meaning Mr Hartley's name remains on the ballot, and voters can now choose between decent local candidates and someone who thinks Jimmy Savile was smeared by the elite. And Hartley isn't alone. He's merely the latest entrant in what has become Reform UK's most enduring tradition, suspending candidates who overstep the mark and expose their stupidity. The day before, Miriam Thomas, the Buckinghamshire hopeful, was dropped after being caught posting Islamophobic material, including images depicting Islam as a snake devouring Britain. Reform responded by suspending her, presumably once the image had gone viral. And the point is she actually saying something that she thinks Reform voters would like to hear? And the answer must be yes. This comes after a remarkable catalogue of shame. Bo Dale in Swindon advocated for the re-migration of millions. That's not a policy, it's a fascist fever dream. Jonathan Kay of South Ribble dropped for tweeting about the low IQ of Africans. Mike Grenho of Orpingham, anti-Semitic comments. David Carpin of Henley and Tame, homophobia. Amodio Amato of Stevenage, Islamophobia. Pete Addis, Ginny Ball. Raymond Saint, Stephen McNamara. David McNabb, Robert Lomas, all booted out for racism, sexism, BNP associations, or some unholy cocktail of the three. By June 2024, over a dozen candidates had all been purged, and at this rate Reform will run out of candidates before it runs out of scandals. And yet, BNP Association, surely we should think of the person who managed Farage's election bid. I think that was his 7th election bid in, where was it now? Thanet. So, what of the man at the helm, Farage himself, the master of plausible deniability, who recently claimed, "We'd be vetting to a standard that no other party has ever done before"? Well, you need to. Perhaps most other parties don't need to. Reform's vetting operation, if one can dignify it with that term, appears to consist of nothing more than Google and an exasperated intern, and even the most cursory of checks would have revealed that one candidate described Islam as a false religion and another called Savile a hero. This is not a party suffering from an odd bad apple. It's an orchard of rotten fruit being hurled at the public with slogans attached. Reform is polling in double digits. A strong showing in the local elections would give it leverage in a general election, potentially splitting the right-wing vote, or worse, pushing the Conservatives into aping its rhetoric. But what does it say about a party's seriousness, about its fittingness to govern, when its biggest logistical operation, candidate selection, is repeatedly humiliated in public? It suggests a party more obsessed with Facebook rage than civic responsibility. It suggests a party that is built not on policies or public service, but on grievance, indignation, and a keyboard warrior's sense of truth. And stupidity, of course. Rank stupidity. But then, of course, All these Reform UK candidates are arch rankers, ranking as much as they possibly can. Farage wants to project the image of a bold outsider, but he's a ranker too. And it's less Churchillian and more like Alan Partridge with a podcast and a grudge. In truth, Reform UK isn't reforming anything. It's recycling the worst instincts in public life and wrapping them up in slogans that backfire, sometimes tragically, mostly comically. And as the May elections approach, voters would do well to ask themselves not just what these candidates say on stage, but what they've typed in fury at 3 a.m. on social media, because the screenshots last longer than any press release. And if Reform UK continues to fix it like this, it may soon find itself in need of fixing, or rather fumigation. Farage fixed it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's not forget that.